part of the UCLA Beloved Community Initiative, we have screenings of films that kind of speak to the legacy of Dr. King. It's called our Real Talk film series. And this film speaks to Dr. King's legacy because it's about finding justice in the American political system. And police litigation is one of the key areas where that can happen. So tonight we have a screening of John Burris, the Godfather of police litigation. So, interestingly, this is our fourth film working with Doug. We started with a film called Called Up, the Emmett Ashford story. Then we went to Don Barksdale, a film called Bounce. And then we did a film called All American, the Walter Gordon story. So those films were sports themed. And those films were designed to kind of lift up the legacy of Jackie Robinson. This film, we went in more of a political, legal area. So, it's just a new experience for us in terms of film concept. But again, working with Doug is a great storyteller and really appreciate the film.
John has to be considered the preeminent civil rights attorney, certainly in the state of California and across the nation as well. He's been practicing law almost half a century. So he's trying to root out that destructive culture because he realizes, as do I, that effective law enforcement is a staple of a civil society, but we are anti-bad behavior.
Yeah, my experience working with Doug and Brian has been a very extraordinarily positive one. It's been one born of friendship and professionalism. I've had a chance to really evaluate and see how a film is put together, something I had not actually been involved before, and also had a chance to appreciate the demands of the job and the artistic talent that is required.
Having our documentary here at the Cinemark Theater is truly an honor. And we have several team members here. Nick Douglas, the gentleman who is producing the film around the history of jazz in New Orleans. Raymond Bell is also here, and he is supporting several projects. John Burris, Emmett Ashford. These are unknown historical artifacts, and it really helps us have a more comprehensive portfolio of film.
I first met Johnny Conklin when I was in the Alameda County DA's office as a prosecutor, and he was in the Los Angeles District Attorney's office as a prosecutor. He was a well-known lawyer at the time, and so we started talking, and he was telling me that he was getting ready to leave LAP DA's office and go do private practice and sue police. And he says, when Burris, he said, man, you should do that too. You should leave Alameda County, and you'll do it up north, and I'll do it down the south. And so that certainly was consistent with my view about what I wanted to do as a lawyer. Rodney King happened in 1991. I was a pretty well-established police litigation lawyer, okay? I had done a number of cases and sort of was the leading person in this area because it had not been developed much before.
I met John Burris over in Alameda County. And I was active in civil rights movement in those days, and so was he, along with a lot of other people. So I really got to know him when he was trying the Rodney King case. Watching the brutality of the Los Angeles Police Department, I thought John had a lot of guts for taking it on.
And so when those officers were acquitted, we were all just stunned. That traumatized the entire country. And as Black lawyers, we were in a position to address it. And then John got the opportunity to hold them accountable civilly.
White officers had basically been getting away with this for years, and the white community had no idea. The Black community did, because we knew in Oakland, it was clear, in San Francisco, obviously in Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia, these were common occurrences that were happening. So Rodney King really presented the first time that there was a video camera that really showed the brutality of a police officer.
But you were taking on the Los Angeles Police Department, just not 10 or 12 police officers that beat the hell out of that poor guy. He took on the whole police department, the whole regiment, if you will, the whole hierarchy of police. And I watched John Burris take him on in the LA case. And it was quite a case because it was clear He had the guts of a tiger.
Our fight at the time when representing Rodney King was to overcome this huge negativism that surrounded him and that had great depths. And so we kept fighting through it, and ultimately we were able to get a very good verdict for him. And that was, in many ways, like the first major case that the public was willing to acknowledge that there was some police brutality that took place.
Having done this work for, I guess, about 33 years, it helps to keep me inspired. And it's so important, as it was said, for us to tell our stories from our point of view. And also it's history.
There wasn't a groundswell of support for Rodney King. I mean, people were pissed off about what happened to him, but they didn't rally to him. They didn't care about him as an individual person in any real social way.
The work that John Burris has done and others like him, like Johnny Cochran, who was my mentor, it's really the job of taking up systemic racism. It goes all the way back to the slave patrols and capturing, incarcerating Black people and just heaping upon us all of the forces of the government and society. And these men and women like him have done the impossible. And so we know what's possible.
Because I've been in policy-making cases, and when I've stayed in the case, I've had to meet with the police. And so I've had to meet with the management of the police, or the thinkers of the police, how to change the policies that we want. We may suggest that the policy ought to be this way, they'll respond to me and say it ought to be another way. And so it has become a collegial experience in one sense. So, and it made me develop another respect for either the leadership of the department or the think tank of the department.
First and foremost, I'm just so appreciative and grateful that this documentary got done, and I'm hoping that it will inspire others to do the same. You know, it's the group from Berkeley and the law school. I take it sort of as a challenge because Lucy and I were Bruins, and I think maybe we need to take up that mantle and do the same for Johnny Cochran's story.
The final reason we're doing these films is because nobody's going to tell our stories the way we tell our stories. So that's a responsibility that, again, we take that very seriously.
Having been involved in a lot of litigation and a lot of interviews and press conferences, there's a different vibe, a different way of doing things. So with Doug and Brian, I've had another slice, another view, another perspective of life in the arts.
When you think about all the work that he has done, from Melvin Black, Oscar Grant, Rodney King, all of it, I don't think there are enough words to even express the gratitude that I feel and that I think our community feels for John and everything that he's done.
We hope you enjoyed the film, and we have more coming in the pipeline.